Wow. I thought all of the presentations were just fantastic and really enjoyed hearing such really varied responses to the topic. I feel each speaker offered really important but also quite different insights. But now, as we move into the Majlis, we want to build some consensus. So I spend most of my time trying to better understand how to resolve conflict and build consensus. And let me tell you, whatever the context, the first step to finding common ground is to get some clarity on the issues we want to focus on. Complex topics like artificial intelligence raise lots of contentious issues. And so to increase the chance of finding some consensus, we first need to identify some common issues and then ask the speakers to kind of focus in on these a little. Essentially, we need to get all of our speakers onto the same wavelength to give us the best chance for some points of consensus to emerge. So, what I'm going to try and do for you now is identify 3 common themes that I think came up across the presentations, and then you can explore this a little bit further in the Majlis. So, firstly, it seemed to me that all of our speakers implicitly argued that AI is already here in a really meaningful way, and that its continued growth is totally assured. Therefore, we didn't really hear much discussion on kind of is AI worth the risk, but instead we heard much more discussion focused on the new risks and the new benefits associated with the continued growth of AI. So I'd really love to hear the speaker say a little bit more on this. So for example, like, is the exponential growth of AI a certainty? And if so, is the more relevant question maybe more how can we best manage these risks and maximize the benefits? Secondly, and actually perhaps more meaningfully, it seemed to me that all of our speakers spoke directly or indirectly about the need for and the challenges associated with regulating AI. Dex and Nick both spoke to this directly, while Joy instead highlighted some of the more kind of worrying applications and downstream implications of AI, and also touched on the kind of possibly sinister ways in which many people would argue we really require some kind of regulation. And finally, in her closing remarks and discussion with Gaida, Mathoni highlighted that regulation is really a challenge that requires more consideration. And so it seems to me that a second point of discussion in which we might identify some form of consensus, but also probably highlight some of the important differences, relates to the need for new regulations to mitigate some of the risks associated with AI without limiting the various sources of potential. Thirdly, and finally, we heard each of the speakers talk about time horizons, with the focus of discussion really ranging from the present day now to some relatively distant future. I would therefore be really interested to hear the issue of time discussed more in the Majlis. For example, what do the speakers consider to be the short and the long term with regards to AI? And to what extent do the costs and benefits that they've been talking about relate to a specific period? I think that perhaps, and probably quite understandably really, we have a little more consensus with regards to the risks and benefits of AI now, and more of the differences of opinion really emerged as we move further into the future.